He's out for revenge. Aims to bring down the megacorp that made the chip.
Do whatever it takes to stop, defeat him. Go!
2020 was an unprecedented year for gaming, and for literally every other part of human society. The pandemic turned our lives upside down, wiping out our daily routines and forcing us to stay in our homes, with video games being one of the few sources of solace. What was originally supposed to be a triumphant console launch became a chaotic scramble as production was disrupted, events were cancelled, and games were delayed. But the release schedule marches on. Thousands of video games were released in 2020, some of which were amazing, many of which were unjustly overlooked. A few revived long-lost genres and others redefined them entirely. It was the culmination of a console generation, with The Last of Us Part 2, Call of Duty, Warzone, and Hades all building on ideas that gained traction during the PS4 and Xbox One era. Welcome to Digital Life Gaming, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 best video games of 2020.
Okay, wait, my drone's okay, right?
Nope, it exploded. I'm fine, by the way.
Right, good, that's the main.
Number 10. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Given how long this spent in development, it's hard to believe it finally came out. Final Fantasy VII struck the hearts of many with its story, characters, and gameplay, and the remake manages to make it a fully realized experience, although it is only the first act of the original.
Yes, Aerith is an ancient. Probably the last one living.
You know you're not just any little girl.
The visuals are breathtaking, characters have been redesigned in great detail without sacrificing their original look, and the new combat system is a fantastic way to introduce new fans to the series. And let's not forget the lovely music that took us back to 1997.
Got more pizza in the oven? I'll take another
wedge! Looky here, boys! Burglars! Tifa, I'm coming!
Number 9. Streets of Rage 4. Resurrecting long-dormant retro franchises can be a risk, especially when you don't stray far from a decades-old formula. Strip away the updated visuals and Streets of Rage 4 could be mistaken for a game from the early 90s. Yet somehow, this new entry in the classic arcade beat-em-up series not only works, but it's also one of the year's most enjoyable games. Thanks in large part to its stripped-down design and pitch-perfect controls, this update to the Sega series expertly leans into nostalgia, while finding ways to show there's still life in the beat-em-up genre. Add in co-op support for up to 4 players and you have one of the 2020's most pleasant gaming surprises. Number 8. Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
That bridge is coming down! I have to stop this!
While the PS4 version isn't as well optimized as the PS5 version, Miles Morales offers plenty of thrill on both platforms. It was exciting to jump back into Insomniac's insanely fun combat system from the previous game, and some of the new mechanics made it even more thrilling. The addition of Venom powers offered a new risk-reward system, forcing players to decide whether to heal or unleash devastating attacks. Invisibility also allowed more flexibility for players who wanted more stealth segments. It may not be a Spider-Man 2, but this title was well worth our time.
Everybody get out!
Number 7. Hades. These days, it feels like every indie studio has its own roguelike, but Supergiant Games has evolved the formula with their newest game, Hades. Players will fight and bash their way through the underworld as they try to reach Olympus, receiving boons to give them additional effects to their abilities. What really makes Hades stand out, besides its art style, is how the game manages to avoid repetition and keep the story progressing. No matter how many times you die, characters have something new to say about your latest run, or may comment on other characters you've encountered. Couple that with a diverse set of weapons, splendid voice acting, and fierce enemies, and it's no wonder why people are still talking about Hades.
Do not despair, child. Such setbacks are inevitable and may be overcome with effort and with time. You made contact with the goddess Athena. She shall be true to her word.
Number 6. Valorant.
Oh.
Embarrassing.
Nice kill in the door. Need help? Nah, I'm good.
Counter-Strike. Global Offensive has been a dominant force in esports for years, but that didn't stop Riot Games from going after Valve directly with Valorant, a hero shooter that shares a lot of DNA with CS:GO.
That's I grab.
However, this is no mere copycat. Applying what they've learned from years of dominating the competitive MOBA scene with League of Legends, Riot injects a healthy dose of personality and fresh ideas into the 5v5 round-based shooter template. By tossing fun player abilities into the mix, Valorant strikes a satisfying balance between Overwatch's dynamic team play and CS:GO's hardcore, skill-based experience. Only time will tell if it can compete with those titans over the long run. Number 5. Animal Crossing: New Horizons. If it weren't for this game, we would have gone insane sitting at home during the pandemic. Even without real-world events though, Animal Crossing: New Horizons is a fantastic game on its own merits. It's more of the same formula we've known and loved, but with more focus on creating your own island paradise and attracting new residents. It's also been a marvel seeing how other folks online have been using their island, from recreating moments in pop culture to hosting game shows. We've clocked in so many hours rearranging our homes, terraforming, and visiting friends' islands, and we'd do it all again. Just without the pandemic. Number 4. Nioh 2. In an industry where every new third-person action game seems to owe a debt to Dark Souls, few titles have actually managed to crack FromSoftware's winning formula. Nioh, Team Ninja's surprise 2017 hit, arguably came the closest, and 3 years later, the sequel offers improvements in nearly every category. Set in a heightened fantasy version of Japan's Sengoku era, Nioh 2's best asset is its flashy, rhythmic combat system, which is both complex and deeply customizable. Frankly, it can all be a bit overwhelming at times, but players looking for a challenge will no doubt relish all that Nioh 2 throws at them. Number 3. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. Ever since the disasters that were Tony Hawk, Ride and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, it felt like we would never see the franchise return to its former glory. In comes Vicarious Visions with a remake of the first 2 games, and it blew everything out of the water. Every stage from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and its sequel has been lovingly rebuilt with refined controls, exceptional detail, and tricks from across the entire series. The Create a Park feature and support for online multiplayer have had us getting together to show off our sick tricks or making ourselves look like a jackass. Number 2. The Last of Us Part 2.
I wish things were different.
Ellie!
But they ain't.
This game proved to be divisive, thanks to pacing issues and key elements of the story. A lot of fans were dismayed at the fate of beloved characters and having to play long sections of the game as antagonist to protagonist Abby. However, The Last of Us Part 2 does do a lot right. The environments are immersive, stealth sections are much more tense, and the combat is unique and much richer. Just think back to how getting struck by an arrow disables your listen mode.
Motherfucker!
It's an intense and grim story, one you'll need to be mentally prepared for. But it's also a compelling journey with polished and memorable gameplay. Number 1. Cyberpunk 2077. It's taken over 8 years and an incredible amount of delays, but 2020 was finally the year we got our hands on CD Projekt Red's most hotly anticipated game.
Aerith, it's like candy for grown-ups.
This idea.
Show yourself, damn it!
Despite a good number of glitches contained in the launch version, Cyberpunk 2077 has no doubt wowed us with its excellent gameplay and story, all of which takes place in the incredibly immersive Night City. Seriously, the amount of detail that has gone into this game is absolutely staggering, and the huge variety of things to do means you won't be putting this game down for a long time. Plus, Keanu Reeves starring as Johnny Silverhand is that nice little cherry on top that we didn't know we needed. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. Also, let us know which video you'd like to see next from us.